We are live.
Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to the March 10th, 2026 meeting of Pierce County Fire District 5, Gig Harbor Fire Medic 1 Board of Commissioners. If you'd please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Approval of agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Urvina,
Yes.
Commissioner Fleming,
Yes.
Chairman Enzi.
Yes. Commissioner's absence, I believe we approved for absence for Phil for this week.
I'll move that we excuse Commissioner Hayden's absence from the meeting today.
I'll second that.
A motion and a second on that. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Urvina,
Yes.
Commissioner Fleming,
Yes.
Chairman Enzi.
Yes. Any communications? Okay. Approve the minutes from the February 24th, 2026 Commissioners meeting.
So moved.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Urvina,
Yes.
Commissioner Fleming,
Yes.
Chairman Enzi.
Yes. Accounts payable and payroll approvals.
I'll move that we approve accounts payable checks 3211 through 3248, 3261 through 3281, payroll checks 3249 through 3260, along with ACH payroll transfers as outlined in the agenda for a grand total of $1,728,493.50.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Urvina,
Yes.
Commissioner Fleming,
Yes.
Chairman Enzi.
Yes. Local 3390, I have not heard anything, so no reports. Chief's reports.
All right, good evening, Commissioners. I have one quick update for the Finance and Admin Division. Next Monday it will be the first day for our new fleet mechanic. Ryan Rohali is his name. So we'll welcome him here Monday morning, kind of a little gathering here like we do with new employees. So we're excited about that. With that, I'll turn it over to Chief Booth.
Good evening. I have several things to update the board about this evening. First and foremost, this has been a long time coming, but we have finally completed the update to the accident prevention program, what we've commonly referred to as safety policies in the past. It's been a lot of work by the safety committee, by several stakeholders throughout the organization, a lot of work by Karen Simmons, getting that all organized and hyperlinked and all that. We're rolling it out to the membership in 5 installments, monthly installments, because it's 140 pages. And so in an effort to get people to consume it in a meaningful way. And so this is the first month, and then over the next 5 months, it'll be rolled out organization-wide. I do have an update regarding the hazard mitigation plan update. It has passed through the state emergency management without any recommendations. It is now with FEMA, and they've made some revision requests, but they're currently furloughed. And so it's kind of in the abyss. I don't believe any of the revisions specifically refer to our annex, which is the way this all works. We're an annex within the county's plan. So we're going to get that done as soon as we can, but recognize that it sounds like it's going to be delayed. This last week and then yesterday, fire prevention completed the move here to Station 50. So Tom and his team are now upstairs if you're looking for the fire prevention folks. And then lastly, many of you have already heard about this, the Grail event. We had a really good turnout to the Grail Galleri Cancer Blood Test event last week. Just under 100 people got drawn that morning, 70-ish of which were left firefighters. We've got enough interest for another event. We're going to do a second event on April 2nd. And as you have also heard, and all credit goes to Chief Oldenburg on this one, we're going to extend department pay to everybody who's currently affiliated with the organization, including yourselves. So we're really excited. We're excited about the enthusiasm for participation, and we're excited about the ability to pay for more of our employees.
Thank you. So I hear you say you were extending the cost to
The department
all
pay.
members of the
Correct.
department,
Yeah, all employees,
including us?
including you.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. So you should have seen an email from Karen. If you're interested in participating, just reply to that email so she can keep a rough tally of who's going to be there.
Okay.
We don't have exact times just yet. We're working that out with the company, but expect it to be around 9 a.m. to 1.
All right. Thank you.
You bet. And thank you for Chief Oldenburg for asking the question.
Yeah, I think you're being more than gracious. We both worked on it together,
Fair.
but it's a good thing for everybody involved in the organization, and I'd highly recommend it if you're so inclined. So, Chief Langlow.
All right, good evening. I have a couple of updates. First one I want to talk a little bit about is the State Farm Good Neighbors Grant that we received recently. State Farm and Gig Harbor Fire Medic 1 have had a long-standing relationship. State Farm has been a great supporter of us for a long, long time, more than 20 years. And so we were recently awarded their Good Neighbors Grant again this year. And I wanted to give a little bit of just some brief history and some context to that relationship that we've had. Chief Corrigan was nice enough to kind of put together a little bit of a synopsis for me. And so we first started working with State Farm in 2003. They've largely the support's largely been focused on our auto extrication program. And so that first started in 2003 with vehicles that they donated to our program, both the Crunch Time program and our internal auto extrication program for vehicle extrication training. And so over the course of the first 3 years of our relationship, they donated 85 vehicles to us. And so huge, right? That's a huge expense and a huge logistical assist from them to us. And then it turned into the State Farm Good Neighbors Grant, which for many years helped support and offset some of the costs for Crunch Time. And then this last year we received, in 2026, we were awarded a $10,000 State Farm Good Neighbors Grant from them, which will go again to help offset some of the Crunch Time costs, because we're bringing back Crunch Time this year in the fall. And then last year, we because we didn't have Crunch Time, we still received their State Farm Good Neighbors Grant, and that went to a water mapping prop we have down on the training ground that helps our operations staff kind of understand what happens to the water when you flow water inside of a building, right? And how it isn't just about quality or quantity of water, but how we use the water when we are in a burning building, and what we can do to make the fire go out faster and be more effective in our ability to rescue civilians if they're in there. So huge props to State Farm. Our local representative is the agent's name is Kent Cashman, and so he's been the one that's presented that to us for many years. And so just wanted to update the board on that and thank State Farm and Kent for their continued support of the organization. It's a pretty cool full circle moment for me personally. Kent and I have been going to school together since kindergarten, so we got a pretty good relationship. So it's pretty awesome to see that. So thank you to State Farm, and then to Chief Corrigan, who's leading through that relationship currently. A couple other things I wanted to mention. We did have the stair climb last Sunday, and we sent a bunch of members up there, including Chief Booth and Chief Westcott. So we had 16 members that participated in the stair climb last Sunday. Mike Ritter, who is a paramedic on B shift now, he came to us from Montana, lived in a higher elevation, so I think he's used to the thin air. But Mike was finished the stair climb in 13 minutes and 51 seconds, which made him finish 18 out of almost 2,000 people that competed. So top 20 for Gig Harbor Fire, which is awesome. And I don't have the number of dollars, $27,000 that were raised by our team, which puts us in a really, really good position, ranking wise from the teams that donated, because at the end of the day, that is what the stair climb is about, is to raise money for blood cancers. And so thank you to Ryan Shervanek for, again, being the team captain, and and just the team effort that it takes to make that happen. I've done it twice in my career, and while the cause is amazing, the experience is miserable. And so good props on these guys that got it done. So wanted to mention that. And then the last thing I wanted to mention, you will see Patrick Phillips in a little bit of a new role for the next couple months. He is on a temporary appointment filling for Lance O'Leary, who is off on a long-term injury. So probably about 4 to 6 months for Lance. I talked to Lance. He's doing great, but just can't work right now. He had an on-the-job injury to one of his arms. So he'll be back full, ready to go, and he'll be a thorn in the doctor's side until he gets there. But Patrick and then Brad Harris will be filling in for Lance for the next several months. I think that's it, Chief.
That's all we have. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the reports, and Tom and Scott, good job on going there. I would still be trying to climb to the next floor, so on there. So good job, you guys. Thank you so much. Standing committee reports. One thing I know is in regards to negotiations, we will have our first meeting with the mediator here this coming Thursday. And that's all I have on that. Financial report. Here she is.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Wonderful. Let me share my screen really briefly here. Okay, so included in tonight's packet on page 12, the final page of tonight's packet, is our January 2026 financial report. You'll notice it's in a very similar format that we have done for the 2025 monthly reports, with a couple additions that I'll go as I go through the order. Operating revenues is still in the same format, very similar budget from 2025 at $46.7 million. January collections is very low, very typical. The majority of our revenues will be received in April. Operating expenses, very similar format. Transfers we'll talk about in a little bit here. January for spending, we have $2.9 million. This is primarily salary and benefits. Supplies and services is typically light in the first quarter of the year. Going into our expenses, this is also the same information as the operating expenses, but split by our specific divisions. You'll see it also equals $2.9 million for January, but split by the corresponding areas to see where our spend is. Moving down into our capital. So this is where it is structurally different for 2026 from 2025. Capital fund used to only include our bond specific projects. That was our $50 million bond issuance that was done a few years ago. That you'll see here where it says capital bond. We have $17.5 million budgeted in 2026 for bond eligible projects. You'll notice in January, we don't have a lot of spend in those projects yet. We'll anticipate more as the training campus continues and Station 51 starts up and starts invoicing. The new section on the report, you'll notice capital fund non-bond. This traditionally was included in our operating expenses. So you would have seen it under the capital bond section and a little bit under logistics, depending on the display. So in 2026, we budgeted capital outside of the operating fund. This was to help with navigating clarity as to the budget. These are items that are one-time in nature that can cross multiple fiscal years. So it now sits in the capital fund, and they were capital expenditures. So what you see here is we have just over $6 million. That includes $900,000 for equipment. I'm going to go from the bottom up. Equipment replacement. We had a couple items. Our radio replacement Our fleet replacement, that's the significant portion of our non-bond capital for this year. Fleet replacement included the water tender that is arriving this year, our Type 1 engines that are arriving this year, and our Type 3 engines that are arriving this year. So that is the bulk of the fleet replacement arrivals in 2026. And then you'll notice from a facilities perspective, we've broken that out for the detail. The facility information equals $2.4 million. The largest project, Station 55, with the 1.7 million, including a couple smaller projects. The smaller projects you might recall had been previously budgeted in prior years as well. 52 and 56 were the roofing projects that were pushed into 2026. You'll notice there's not any spend for January. This is pretty typical in terms of invoices and collections that show up. So we anticipate seeing more in the first quarter as those projects continue. Ending cash, same organizational display as last year. I'll highlight at the end of 2025, we had $65.4 million for our ending cash across our 4 funds. At the end of January, we were at 63. This is also very typical. We'll go and start using the existing cash we have until our April tax collections can arrive. So not a lot of change other than the structural change for capital, which will bring a little more clarity into the monthly report. Does anyone have any questions about this month's report?
Doesn't appear so. Thank you.
Okay. The only other thing I'll highlight is December, we still have forthcoming to the commissioners. It'll probably be in the next month or 2 reports, and we'll go into more detail into the December year-end activity.
Crystal, I actually got to ask one question.
Sure.
What was the $94 that was spent on Station 51? That's such a random small number. It just piqued my curiosity.
I know. If I actually were to look, it'd probably be a smaller invoice. We do get quite a few different transactions, so I don't know the specifics of the 94, but I can assure you it is related to that project.
Okay, just curious. Thanks.
Yes. Okay,
Thank you,
well, that is the
Crystal.
end of the January report. Thank you.
Thank you, Crystal. Chairman's report, I have nothing. 2022 bond update? Oh, okay.
He's not here.
Not
He's
here.
in Minnesota.
If anybody was stepping in for him.
Yeah.
Well, there is no old business. There is no new business. At this point, we're at open public comment. If you like to present anything to the board, please state your name for the record. You'll have 3 minutes. If you're online, please wave your hand. Nothing there. Okay. Good of the order. I'd like to remind everyone that if you haven't done your PDC, please do that. Also, we have training coming up here. I think the April one is closed for in Spokane, I believe is closed, but there's training, same thing here on this side in 1st of May for the Washington State Fire Commissioners Association at the Clearwater, and then of course the June training at Lake Chelan at Campbell. So just a couple things to keep in mind. Anything else on the good of the order for anybody? Special interest, upcoming events?
I do have one to report at your next meeting on the 24th. Just a reminder, we will be doing a promotional ceremony and a Medal of Merit ceremony for 2 Medals of Merits and 5 promotions. So we'll have the walls opened up, and we'll have that at the beginning of the meeting on the 24th.
Sounds great. Thank you. Anything else to come before the board? Hearing none, we are adjourned.